Hi there! Welcome at watching new VideoGaming Father's video review of turn-based puzzle game called Lara Croft Go. Does it use famous name in a good way, or is it just a marketing reason? Is the original mobile game good enough to be played on PC? Does it offer interesting level design and challenging difficulty? Have the controls been adapted for keyboard and mouse? Is there any Tomb Raider-like story in the game? Just stay with me and we'll find the answers soon enough. The main hero of this game is, well, it's not really a big surprise, one of the most famous video games character ever, Bombshell Lara Croft. However, this time it's not a classic Tomb Raider game full of movie-like action, platforming and solving puzzles from time to time. It is a small game focused on puzzles only, so it will tease your brains rather than fingers and reflexes. But still, once we have Lara Croft here, is there any story situated to the Tomb Raider universe? Unfortunately, authors of the game did not use the opportunity to take the universe that now contains many video games, movies, comic books, and so on, to build an attractive story. There is some trace that we will be uncovering the myth of the Queen of Venom, but there are no dialogues, cutscenes, or at least text messages that would be developing it as you proceed through the game. This is rather disappointing for me, and authors could put some more effort here. But still, it's a puzzle game where the story is not a crucial part, so let's have a look how it is played. If you have ever played any game from Tomb Raider series, just forget about the mechanics that you have been used to. Lara Croft Go is not the only puzzle game, but it's also a turn-based game, and turn-based mechanics are actually crucial for solving the puzzles. Lara moves here across predefined paths created by a series of rhombusses, where each of them represents one step. The paths are both horizontally and vertically oriented, so you are not only walking but also climbing the walls both horizontally and vertically. Nothing that you would not know from classic Tomb Raider games. In the beginning there are not many choices where to go, as there is usually one straight path with only few junctions. There is no tutorial in the game, but it is somehow intuitive, so you will never get stuck at one place too long. As you proceed through the game, it serves you its mechanics one by one. In first few levels, the logical problems are limited to switching the levers to move some block and release the way further, or to move across the cracklings in the wall or the ground that you can step onto just once, as the second time it cracks, which causes you to fall down in better case, or fall into oblivion on worst case scenario. After getting familiar with the base game mechanics, you meet the first enemy, Snake. Lara Croft is a turn-based game, so does it mean that there will be turn-based combat? Not really. Once you get close enough, means the field next to the enemy, and click the field where the enemy is, Lara pulls her iconic pistols and sends the enemy to eternity. But this scenario happens only if the Lara approaches the enemy from back or from side. If the enemy is turned towards Lara, it also results into death, but unluckily not the enemy's one. So if there are more snakes next to each other, you need to execute them in the right order or move the blocks where they are located first, which creates a new series of interesting logical problems. Not all of the enemies are static like the snakes. You will also find there the giant spiders that move by one field either horizontally or vertically every time you move, but in one line only, or more sophisticated lizards that follow you once they spot you until you either kill them or lose them. As for the first option, the rules are the same. You can kill the enemies only if you do not confront them face to face. Later on you will find a spear at some places that you can throw at your enemies from longer distance if you are in one line with them. This usually resolves the issue that one would not resolve without direct confrontation with the enemy. will be also using the environment against your enemies quite often. There are the circular saws that you can often turn against your enemies by moving the blocks with them to the line with the enemy. Then it causes the same damage as the weasel in the henhouse. You can also use already mentioned cracklings against your enemies to kill them if they step onto such field after you, or lose them by creating the hole between them and you. The enemies can also be used in your favor. For example, if there is a switch that someone needs to step onto to activate the lift or moving platform. So you need to plan your steps carefully to be on that platform at the same time when your enemy activates the switch. The most of the puzzles are actually based on moving the blocks, pulling the levers, or activating the switches, as you may know from puzzles in big Tomb Raider games. As the game serves you its mechanics gradually and still coming up with something new, you will not get bored anytime soon. Now let's take a look at controls and game difficulty. The controls are very simple yet not so comfortable. You need to move the mouse in the direction that you want Lara to go, which is rather clunky on computer. I can understand that it might be a good idea to move by sliding the finger across the display of mobile device, but using the mouse, it would be much better to move by clicking on the rhombus where you would like to move onto instead. The game difficulty is reasonable with gradual learning curve. The game is very easy in the beginning, but as it is adding more mechanics into gameplay, it becomes more and more complex, so you can be sure that your brain will not remain unemployed this time. There is also the system of hints in the game, but I have not used them, as they would most likely make the game too easy. If you accidentally die, Lara will always respawn near the problematic location, so this is for sure not the game where one would be repeating same long passages again and again. How about the game graphics, music and sounds? You need to keep in mind that Lara Croft Go is a port of original mobile game to the big computers, and as such it has rather simple graphics. Still, it is detailed enough, all objects in the game are easily recognizable, and the game does not have overwhelming hardware requirements. Sounds are okay, and most objects in the game make sounds that you would expect of them. The music is almost not there, and if it plays, sometimes there are not any memorable tones, which is a little bit disappointing considering that it is still related to the Tomb Raider series. I have not mentioned yet that in each level you can collect ancient relics, which is kind of hidden object game, as they are not visible on the first sight. If you collect a determined number of them, you can unlock new outfits for Lara. It adds another element to the game, and maybe someone will find a challenge in it, but I better focus on solving the puzzles, so cannot really appreciate it much. So, has Lara Croft Go succeeded as a puzzle game and has not embarrassed big Tomb Raider titles? I can say yes. It has interesting game mechanics, challenging puzzles in the later stages, gradual learning curve, reasonable difficulty, and solid graphics and sounds. The cons are the absence of good story and music, and clunky controls that could be better adapted to computer. There could be also more elements from Tomb Raider universe in the game, but as a separate puzzle game, it didn't fail at all. Lara Croft Go costs €10 on Steam, which is a reasonable price for the fun it offers. As the levels are short and difficulty is reasonable, the game is also suitable for school-age kids. I have enjoyed the time spent with this game, so I'm giving it thumbs up, and VideoGaming Father's index 8 out of 10. Recommended. Thank you for watching my Lara Croft Go video review. If you enjoyed it, please do not forget to like this video and to subscribe to my VideoGaming Father's channel. Hope to see you soon!